Hail, fellows and foresters! Sister Emma here to share with you more knowledge and lore of medieval beasts and the wild spaces they inhabit. Today, I want to tell you about a beast from the Middle Ages that is the stuff of nightmares. It is a hermaphrodite that changes its sex once a year. While pregnant, it can be impregnated, and then impregnated again. It sleeps with its eyes open, and it plays with weasels for fun. It is malicious to the hunters that wish to pursue it, and it eats snow. But don't worry, its bile can brighten the eyes. I'm speaking, of course, of hares.
Let's start with a quick science lesson. Hares and rabbits are not the same. Hares have longer legs and longer ears and are generally larger than rabbits and are more likely to live a solitary life and not in a family group. This is understood now and was also recognized in ancient and medieval times. There are a multitude of sources for hare illuminations. Today I'll pick a serious one because I will be sharing facts about the medieval understanding of hares, but in a future video I'll also talk about the many comical depictions of hares in the marginalia of manuscripts. Oh my goodness, look at this precious chubby fella! This illumination is from De Animalibus, which can be found online from La Bibliothèque Nationale de France in their online repository called Gallica. I referenced some pretty interesting facts in my intro, so let's break those down really quick. Going back to the 1st century of the Common Era, Pliny the Elder mentioned that hares were hermaphroditic. They reproduce equally well without a male. Thomas of Cantimpré clarified in the 13th century that they changed their sex yearly. Pliny also noted this about hares and gestation. The hare practices superfetation, rearing one leveret while at the same time carrying in the womb another closed with hair, and another bald, and still another an embryo. This sounds like unbelievable Middle Age mythology, but it is actually true. Mostly. Modern science has studied the European brown hare, and there is a paper published in 2010 that details how an experiment conducted on a captive colony of hares was able to fertilize eggs in already pregnant hares. Pliny's claim that a hare could be carrying 3 pregnancies at different stages is still unproven. I've referenced Thomas of Cantimpré already, but he did write a significant number of things about hares. Much of what he wrote was regurgitated from Pliny's book of natural history. The belief that hares eat snow is an example. That hares sleep with their eyes open is another repeated factoid, and this one is also mostly true. Hares and rabbits have a transparent third eyelid that can keep the eye moist while they sleep with their eyes seemingly open. One of the original statements that Thomas makes about hares is that they play with weasels for fun, or at least it appears to be fun. The weasel's real intention is to tire the hare so that it can claim a meal at the end of the playdate. Could that happen? Maybe. I think this isn't so much a fact as a retelling of an interesting tale. Another unique part of the writings of Thomas are the medicinal uses of non-meat parts of a hare. A hare's lung will heal wounded feet. The bile will brighten the eyes. The kidneys of a hare will clear up your kidney stones, but so will drinking its blood. The last part of hare mythology that I'll speak about is their relationship to hunters. As a game animal, the hare was admired for its swiftness and also its cunning. Gerald of Wales writes in the 12th century, "Contrary to the usual instincts of that animal, when found by the dogs, they keep to cover like foxes, running in the woods instead of in the open country, and never taking to the plains and beaten paths unless they are driven to it." The hunting manuals of Gaston Phoebus and the following translation by Edward of Norwich dedicate a chapter to the pursuit of hares as part of the noble sport of hunting. But I'm actually saving a deeper dive into that topic for a later video. This rascally fella is dry. and will make a lovely addition to my growing collection of bestiary-inspired art cards. Hold your horses! I have some sources. I have to give a lot of credit to Bestiary.ca. This site is a personal project of a scholar and fellow Canadian, and it is my launching point for most of my content on the beasts of the Middle Ages. This resource allows me to find published texts from period, modern texts on the subject of medieval beasts, and of course the illuminated manuscripts that depict the beasts I talk about. I have named all referenced manuscripts throughout this video, and I will link to them in the video description. Thanks for watching the first installment of this series. I am optimistic that there will be more hare content in the future, and I hope you come back for it.